Welcome back. We are starting a new book club. It is The Journey by Adam Hamilton as we're preparing for Christmas this year. And this is going to be the story of Mary and Joseph and the birth of Jesus and just how God speaks to us in that incredible way. And we're going to look at it in a totally new and different way than we've probably looked at it before. So I'm so excited. We're going to jump right in to chapter 1. And I hope you've read it. If not, grab the book and join us soon. But we're going to jump in. And this one is all about Mary. And as we looked at Mary and the town that she's from, Nazareth, what really stood out to me is that Nazareth, the meaning of that, the word, the branch, and the fact that we have the name of the town is the branch, means the branch, and the fact that we have the prophecy from Isaiah 11:1, where it said that Jesus will, the Messiah will be a branch that comes out of the stump of Jesse. And what that means, that's just a long thing, but it means that like where you've cut off a stump and a tree, and there's just the dead stump, and then all of a sudden, a year or two later, you see this like little branch growing up out of that tree that should have been dead, and you're like, no, it was not defeated. And that is what the visual that we're supposed to see is that Jesus was given to us as hope in a situation that looked hopeless, but he's there. And that stood out to me tremendously right now. Of every season that anybody has ever lived through in the last 2,000 years, I'm sure we would apply this all to what we are living through now. But I think right now there is so much, you see people just with hopelessness. Whatever it is, throughout the world, the government situations, COVID, racial reconciliation, the riots that are going on, it seems hopeless. And we cannot be a people without hope. We have already been given that hope. That hope is Jesus. He was given 2,000 years ago. That's this whole point, is that 2,000 years ago, that branch came out of that stump that looked hopeless. And we so often still live looking at the stump, thinking that there is no hope. There is no hope for us. And we are waiting for someone to rescue us from that. We're waiting, whether it's a government, whether it is medical, it's somebody that's going to come in and rescue us. And the point we need to realize is that we have already been rescued. We already have this hope. It was given to us. We have him. He has not deserted us. And we need to remember that in all situations, that we have a great and mighty hope in Christ. We do not need to sit around and wait for some great person in power to rescue us. And yet that is how we live so often. And I look at Mary and think that, here she is from this town that doesn't really have any notoriety whatsoever. It's a little town in the middle of nowhere. And the possibility that she lived in a cave. I mean, she had no education, young, and yet when God gave her this message of what he was asking her to do, she took it, even though the circumstances seemed hopeless. She jumped on that and she was like, yes, I believe that's going to happen. So today, in our time frame, we look around and we have so much more than Mary, who lived in that cave that was 13. And yet we look around and think, oh, no, there's no way. The circumstances that surround us. And yet God is telling us constantly, I have already given you the hope. I've given it to you. Latch onto him. He is there. And then do what I've asked you to do. And what does he ask us to do? Share that hope with those around us. And as we are preparing for this Christmas season and this remembrance of when that hope was given to us, that is what I want us to come away with this week, is how are you sharing that hope? How are we sharing that hope, the hope of Christ, with those around us? Are we still waiting to be rescued, or are we saying, hey, we have already been rescued, no matter what the circumstances? And how can I share that with him? Mary did not look around and say, what? No, that's impossible. I'm 13. There is no power here in this tiny little hole in the wall town. There's no way I can do anything that you've asked me to do. She just stepped out in faith. So how can you step out in faith? Whether it is sharing that hope with your neighbor who so desperately needs it, your coworker, the people that surround you, the people in the grocery store, wherever you are, how are you sharing hope with them? The hope of Christ, the hope that has already been given to us, that we do not have to wait to be rescued. We must live like a people who have already conquered, not like a people who are waiting to be saved. So today, as we leave, think about this. I want to leave you with that phrase that Mary answered the angel when the angel told her this impossible thing that was going to happen. Mary said, when she looked at him, she said, "Here am I, Lord. Use me according to your will." May that be our prayer. May that be our prayer for the rest of this season and forevermore. Here am I, Lord. Use me according to your will. So how is he asking to be using you? How does he want to use you? Jump on that today and find out, how is God asking you? What is he asking you to do? So friends, I'm excited about this book. I'm excited about next week. We go into the next portion. We've just learned about Mary. So jump on, contact me if you have questions or you want to actually join a face-to-face group that we're having. And I'm excited. Share this with your friends. Please share with them and ask them to join in a book club with you. I'll see you next week.